You know that cup of coffee you're maybe even holding right now? Well, it's way more than just a morning pick-me-up. It's actually your ticket into this huge global network of choices and consequences. So today, we're going to peel back the layers and really understand the hidden economic forces behind that one simple purchase. Seriously, just take a second and think about it. What was the last thing you bought? Was it a snack from a vending machine, a book, or maybe it was that coffee we were just talking about? Just get that one single purchase clear in your head. And there you have it. That little decision, that was an economic action. And today, we're going to break down the incredible science that explains not just that choice, but the millions and millions of other choices just like it that happen every single day. All right, first things first. We have to get one thing straight. Economics isn't just about money and stocks and all that complicated stuff you see on the news. Nope. At its absolute core, it is the science of choice. Think about it. We all face this fundamental problem, right? We have limited time, limited money, limited energy. But our wants, they seem pretty much unlimited. This basic conflict, this is what economists call scarcity, and it's the real starting point for everything we're going to talk about.
So economics is really just the study of how all of us, you, me, big companies, even entire countries, deal with this problem of not being able to have it all. It's the science of making decisions when you can't have everything, whether you're just choosing a coffee or trying to figure out a national budget.
Okay, so we're making choices all day long. But what's the real cost of any one of those choices? Because I'll tell you right now, it is almost never just the number you see on the price tag.
You know, every single time you say yes to something, you are automatically saying no to a bunch of other things you could have done with that exact same resource, whether we're talking about your time or your money.
Economists have a name for this, of course. They call it opportunity cost. And I love this concept. I kind of think of it as the ghost of the choice you didn't make. It's the value of the road not taken.
So the opportunity cost of that $5 coffee isn't just any old thing you could have bought. No, it's the single best alternative that you gave up. So maybe that's putting that $5 toward a savings goal. That is the real trade-off you just made.
Now we get to a really fascinating debate in economics. For the longest time, the thinking was that we all make these choices like we're perfect, logical, calculating machines. But is that really how our brains work? Right, this is the classic theory of rational actors. It's this idea that we always carefully weigh the pros and cons and then pick whatever gives us the most benefit. And look, it's a really clean, simple theory, but it's got one huge problem.
Come on, be honest with yourself. Have you ever bought something on a total impulse? Or maybe held on to a stock that was losing money just because you felt attached to it? Or, I don't know, eaten that extra slice of cake even when you knew you were going to regret it? Yeah, me too. And that is exactly where behavioral economics comes into the picture. It's this amazing field that mixes psychology with economics to help explain why we do all those things, why we buy on impulse, why we eat that cake. It accepts that we're human, we're not calculators. We're driven by emotions, by what our friends are doing, and all sorts of weird mental shortcuts.
So on one side, you've got this neat and tidy world of the perfectly rational person. And on the other, you have the messy, complicated, kind of unpredictable reality of how our brains actually work. Behavioral economics tries to make sense of that mess. It helps explain things like why so many of us will pay more for a brand name, even when the generic version right next to it is literally the exact same thing.
Okay, so we've looked at how we make choices all by ourselves. But what happens when our choices start to interact with what other people are choosing? Well, this is where things get really, really powerful.
This is such a great idea, it's actually kind of liberating. The key to getting more done and creating more wealth isn't trying to do everything yourself. It's about figuring out what you do relatively well and then trading with other people.
The big idea behind this is called comparative advantage. And the key phrase to remember here is lower opportunity cost. It's not about who is the absolute fastest or best at something. It's about who gives up the least to get that thing done. Let's walk through this. So person A is faster at both baking and tidying. So your first thought might be, okay, person A should just do everything, right? But actually, no. Think about the trade-offs, the opportunity cost. For person A to spend time tidying, they give up the chance to bake a ton of bread. But for person B, tidying only costs them a little bit of lost baking time. So person B has the comparative advantage in tidying. So if A focuses on baking and B handles the tidying, they can trade and they will both end up with more bread and a cleaner kitchen than if they try to do it all alone. It's kind of magic, and it's what powers all of global trade.
All right, we have gone from your cup of coffee to the inside of your brain to how you might trade with a neighbor. So now, for our last part, let's zoom the camera all the way out and look at the entire system.
You see, that coffee purchase, that trade you made with your neighbor, none of that stuff happens in a bubble. Every single choice we make ripples out and becomes part of this giant, interconnected system we call the economy.
This is the world of macroeconomics. It's like the bird's eye view, looking at the huge forces that affect everybody. Things like overall economic growth, unemployment rates, interest rates. It's studying the health of the entire forest, not just looking at one or two individual trees.
And there's one of these big macro forces that has a direct, tangible impact on the money in your wallet every single day. I guarantee you've heard about it, probably a lot lately. That force is inflation. Plain and simple, it's why that cup of coffee that cost maybe $1.20 years ago might cost $5 today. As prices rise over time, the actual purchasing power of each dollar you have goes down. It's kind of like a silent tax that slowly eats away at your savings.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with costs and choices. We now get the idea of the opportunity cost of buying a single coffee. But let's think bigger. What's the hidden opportunity cost of something like inflation? What dreams, what goals, what other choices are we all being forced to give up when the value of our money is constantly changing? Now that is a question that affects every single one of us, every single day.